This is a tutorial of how to do a greeting card like the one I just showed you. So I'm going to mix up the colors that you need. So I'm mixing up some red and some brown, or scarlet and brown, to make it a little darker and not as bright. And then I'm doing a bluish green, so you can mix blue and green together or use a color that's already similar. And I'm also adding brown to that to make it a little darker and less bright. And then you could just make, it doesn't have to be exactly like mine, as dark as you want it. Then I'm going to make a greenish yellow color by mixing a lighter green with some yellow. And if you already have a color like that, you could just leave it, or you could just take a green and add some yellow to it. And you could also add a little bit of brown if you want to make it more olive colored, which is what I did. And then I'm also going to get some brown. I already have that in the palette itself, in the one that comes with the different colors that I bought, but you could, just mix it up if you like yourself using different browns. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the wreath. I'm going to use a number, I believe 6 round brush. I'm going to take the brown and I'm going to make a circle, but not a perfect circle. It's going to be one of those wreaths that are made out of different branches. So you see my circle, again, not perfect. Parts are thicker, parts are thinner. I'm trying to use the tip of the brush not to make it too thick. I'm overlapping, again, like those branches. So make as many as you like. You like how it looks. And then I'm going to add in some branches for the pine needles, and then also some branches for the berries. So you could add those wherever you see fit. I'm adding mine in these places. Right over here. You could always add more if you find that you need more. And again, you're using the tip of the brush to make them pretty thin. And they're not going to be perfect because you don't want it to look too cartoon-like. Okay, next I'm going to take some of the lighter green and I'm going to make leaves by putting the tip down, then pushing the middle of the brush down, and then releasing with the tip. I'm going to leave some white space in some of them. I'm not going to make them the same. I'm going to leave some more water in some of them, leave some more color in some of them. And I'm just trying to fill the space here. You could add as many as you'd like. If you notice, I left some white in the middle there. And that just gives a nice effect of like a realistic leaf, like the line that you would have. And later I'm going to add some darker green and some brown on the bottom, because leaves have splotches on them. Leaves are not all the same. So it's fine that they all look different and that they're different sizes, slightly different shapes, and they have different colorings. And you can add as many as you want, wherever you see fit. Okay, so as you can tell now, I'm adding the green. I'm dropping it, and the water is just going to spread it out a bit. I'm going to use my brush to also spread it out a bit, kind of blot it so it doesn't look too dark. But as you can see, those dots are kind of oozing out since the leaves are still wet. And it's giving it a nice effect. And I'm going to do the same thing with the brown. Now I'm going to take some of the dark green and make the pine needles on those branches, and I'm going to use the tip of the brush to do that. And you can make as many of those little lines as you want. You could practice on a piece of paper before, try to make them thin, not too thick, but if you make them a little thicker by accident, it's okay. Like, see how there I made them a little thicker. So you just want to fill the space in, and then you could also go with the lighter green or mix the two greens together to add some variation. Oh, I'm adding one more there because it looks a little plain. And now I'm taking that lighter green that I use for the other leaves and I'm adding it so that they look, you know, more natural. And I could also do that with the brown, so I'm going to go ahead and do that with the brown as well. Then lastly, I'm going to take some of that red that I made with the brown, and I'm going to make the berries. So I'm just going to drop them in there like little dots, kind of dabbing, all different sizes, some of them lighter, some of them darker, just, you know, so they look more natural, like actual berries that have variations. And if you feel like having some more berries in some places where you don't have branches, you could always go in and add more branches. You could also add some brown, more brown into the middle or the sides of some of the berries to make them darker and more varied. I might do that later, I shall see. See, it's okay if some of them are bigger. Add some more color to some of them. And again, you can always draw in more of the branches. Okay, now I'm going to add a few more of those pine needles because it looked a little bare over there. So you could go ahead and do that if yours look like that too. And then I'm going to wait for it to dry so that I could write my message. And so I recommend using a pencil first once it's dry to write your message so that if you mess up, you could always erase it. So write whatever message you could write over the greenery. In this case, I'm going to write more in the middle. But you could write more over the greenery. And then once you write in pencil and you're satisfied with the way it looks, then you could follow up and go over it with a pen and use your hand lettering skills to do that. Any pen, a ballpoint pen, fine liner will work. And then once everything's nice and dry, you can erase the pencil lines, but make sure you wait long enough so as not to smudge the ink. And you could make this card not for the holidays, but for a birthday or whatever if you change up the message. So I hope you enjoyed the video and stay tuned for more. See, that's a different one that I made. Okay, thanks for watching and happy painting to all of you.